The president's lawyer is now shifting his story, insisting Donald Trump did not collude with Russia, but leaving open the possibility his campaign did.
I never said there was no collusion between the campaign or between people in the campaign.
Yes,
I have no idea if I have not. I said the President of the United States.
That directly contradicts what the president has said repeatedly about collusion between the campaign he led and the Kremlin.
There was no collusion with the campaign. There was no collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian people. There has been no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russians or Trump and Russians.
Giuliani, asked to explain his stunning comment, says he was not changing his stance, telling NBC News, "I represent the president." He added, "If you say to me tomorrow someone in the campaign colluded with the Russians, well, okay, that person did, but we didn't know about it, and I don't know of any such person." Democrats skeptical.
He appears to acknowledge collusion between the campaign and the Russians. If that's what others have taken from it, that's what I took from it. That's quite an admission by the president's own lawyer.
And do you find that disturbing?
Of course it is.
Giuliani also says the president did not tell his former lawyer to try to rig early online campaign polls. The Wall Street Journal reported Michael Cohen paid a tech firm to try to make Donald Trump look better in polling just before he announced his presidential run in 2015. Cohen today tweeted, "What I did was at the direction of and for the sole benefit of President Trump. I truly regret my blind loyalty to a man who doesn't deserve it." Hallie Jackson, NBC News, the White House.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.